Hi guys, welcome back to VK Vlogs, and in today's video we are going to talk about the latest Indian education policy and what does a foreigner think about this new policy. Before starting this video, let me tell you that I'm mostly not comfortable sharing my educational, religious, political point of views on an open platform. But this to me seemed like a major development in the country. Basically, it is a step forward, is what I think. And since education decides how a country is gonna be shaped in the future, that's why I wanted to raise my opinion on this new topic. And also to tell you guys that in this video itself, I'll be joined by a friend from Canada. And I'm gonna ask her a couple of questions of what she thinks and how she compares this policy to the policies in Canada. So stay tuned. In recent years, the Indian education system has been criticized a lot, and many people have been vocal about it. Especially in the recent years when globalization and travel industry boomed, people got a chance and opportunities to travel to different countries and study there and also experience their own education system and compare it with ours. In 2014, India's global education rank slipped to 93, and our education system was only synonymous with words like board exams, entrance exams, marks, report cards, and etc. And I think these issues were majorly highlighted and addressed in the new education policy. Earlier, after passing 10th standard, a child was given three options, either to choose from science, humanities, or commerce. If you talk about me, I had to go for science because it was a society stereotype, and I feel jealous right now. I mean, at that time, it was the only thinking that if the child is studious, then he or she has to go and opt for science. But I think this is now changing. Students are given more options to combine their subjects out of science, humanities, and commerce and make a mix of their own. And I think it's a great step forward for somebody who wants to learn physics along with political science. The regular 10 plus 2 structure of schooling is now being replaced by 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, which ensures 12 years of regular schooling along with 3 years of primary schooling. The exciting part about this kind of approach is that now vocational trainings and internships will become compulsory from class 6th onwards, which is absolutely great. I mean, consider jobs like carpentering, electrician, plumbing, and even coding would be taken too much seriously and also would not be termed as things that lower caste people do or lower classes do. In terms of monetary development, 6% of country's GDP would now be spent in education versus the current 3%. According to the new policy, memorization of syllabus would decrease and board exams would be given less importance, and more importance would be given to practical learning. This is superb. Why I'll tell you, because I remember when I had taken mathematics in 11th and 12th and I had to memorize useless topics like integration, which I think most of us have no practical use in regular life. Another exciting update is after completing 12th, there would be a multiple entry program into your graduation courses. I'll tell you my example. I remember when I passed 12th and I had taken BTech engineering, of course, because of societal pressures. I actually dropped out of it after 6 months and all my credit got wasted. But now this has been taken care of, and if you plan to drop out of a particular course in your graduation, your credits would be transferred, much like it happens in other developed countries. In fact, what great is that if you plan to drop out of a 4-year degree course within first year, you will get a certificate. In the second year, you will get a diploma. Third year, you will get a bachelor's degree, and fourth year, you will get a research bachelor's degree. So basically, your graduation would be of 4 years. And in fact, if you complete the 4-year graduation, your master's would only be of 1 year. And if you have completed 3 years, your master's would be completed in 2 years. I think this is great news. The best part about this new policy will be to allow top 100 international universities to set up their own campuses in India. And speaking of international, I think it's time that I will be joined by my friend Karyan, who's from Canada. Let's see what she has to say about this. So I'm joined by my friend Karyan. Karyan, would you quickly like to introduce yourself to our viewers?
Hi everyone, my name is Carrie Ann. I'm from Canada. I grew up in a little town close to Montreal, and I'm currently studying at McGill University in Montreal.
Wow, that's amazing. How is it there in Canada these days?
It is very, very warm.
I had recently sent you a link which described the entire
new education policy in India. What's your general point of view on this policy?
Honestly, I was very impressed. I find it very interesting to see how flexible on paper, anyways, this new policy is. How much like it's gonna make a big change in terms of flexibility for the students. I think what really like struck me in this policy is how it's gonna be more oriented on trying for the students to find what they want to do because they're passionate about it and not trying to do something because the society wants them to do it. So I think that's a very good step forward in that direction, because in my beliefs anyways, students stay in school when they're passionate about it and have a like less tendency to actually drop out when they actually like what they're doing. So I think that's a very, very good policy.
Awesome. How would you compare it to Canada's education policy? Like, do you think there is a comparison, or do you think there are still some flaws which can be improved, or do you think that it's a way forward? What do you think?
I think it's a way forward. I think the only difference of what I really like about the Canadian education system, even though it's far from perfect, but I think it's a very open-minded education system in a way that you can ask any question you want to any professor and you're always going to get an answer. Like there's nothing you cannot ask. So, for example, when I was in 8th grade, we had our first sexuality class. So the prof with condoms and bananas, and I was trying to like put the condoms of bananas, and it wasn't like a bad thing. It was just us learning different things about life and different versions of everything. So even the guys learning about menstruations and the girls learning about condoms. So it was a very open-minded education system, even like starting from a very young age. So I think it made us feel like we could ask anything, and not only in science, that was a science class, but also in history and French, and any class, it was very easy to ask any kind of question or anything that we had in mind. So that was great.
I think anyone who would watch this video is gonna call you Shatabdi Express or Rajdhani Express because you're going too fast.
Oh no!
It's okay. No, I was actually coming back onto this point because the major focus of this policy was on vocational studies and practical experiences. And as I've discussed with you numerous times, and you have told me stories about how you grew up with that kind of education in Canada, where as you just talked about, practicing with condoms in 8th standard and having classes about sexuality. Are there any other, and the taboos in India, so are there any other nice examples that you would want to share and that would, highlight this new policy?
Yeah, there are many. Let's pick one. So I think this new policy is very good in terms of flexibility for the students. Like it's even more flexible than some Canadian policies. So the policy of the fact that if you do a year in a program and then you drop out and you go in a different program, that you can still get a certificate or like get credit for what you did. In Canada, we don't have that. If at 16 you decide that you want to go in this program and you realize 2 years later that that's not what you want to do, well, too bad for you. You just lost 2 years of your life. So I think that's a very, very good aspect that they're actually implementing, because you're not going to be afraid of making a mistake in doing a program that you're not actually sure, because you can always get something out of it. So I think that's a very good point. The only thing you can tell me, I actually don't know if you guys have that. I think we have a lot of services in Canada in the school. Like starting from 14, you can go see a psychologist in your school for free and without your parents knowing. That's the major point.
Oh.
That you can go see a psychologist, you can go see a nurse. I remember the contraception pills.
Okay.
You can go get at the nurse. When you're 14, you don't have to go see a doctor. You don't have to tell your parents if you're not comfortable. So all kinds of services. So a psychologist, social services as well. So I don't know if you guys have that in India, but I think that's a very good thing in schools. So like you don't feel like it's bad to go to a psychologist. If you need help, it's actually promoted as a good thing to go seek help and like go get it yourself.
That's awesome. I mean, it would have been so cool if I would have grown with such an education, and I would have easily adapted to Western culture when I used to live in Prague. I think that's my conclusive thoughts on this, and I would really like to thank you for joining me on this very short interview. You were really insightful, and I hope this new education policy brings about some good change.
I hope so too. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Bye.
So that's what my friend Karan had to say about this policy. There are some downsides to this policy, and there are of course some criticism that has been received for this policy, like centralization of power, local or home language studies, and also this policy is more theoretical than practical. I think all these issues would be addressed once the policy comes into play, and we all have to wait and watch, of course. But being said that, it is a great step forward. I think anything that a government does will always have its own criticism, and they will learn by their mistakes. So let's just wait and give it time, and I think it would be great. Let me know in the comments below of what you think of this new policy. Till then, keep watching VK Vlogs. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.